Hello everybody and welcome back to the third episode of my Avorion tutorial series. I'm Icon and we will now witness the power of the mining brick. So I took my time and upgraded this thing now with a handful of mining lasers. So what has happened now is this thing is plowing through asteroids pretty decently. This might look pretty good, but honestly, it's not that much. On the other side, we are now also capable of boosting through the sector without running out of battery that quickly. So I upgraded the generators. I'm going to show you how this all works on the blueprint in a second. So in this episode, we're going to talk about automation and how to further improve your performance on your ships after what we've did so far. So because this is we're barely scraping the tip of the iceberg. So we're now on a pretty good spot there. The ship is not by any means optimized, so you can expect way better performances later down the road. That's practically good rookie numbers, but not more than that. But once you are on this level, let's show you the ship for that. Once you're on this level, we're running now 6 mining lasers, 3 of them white, 2 of them green, and I'm also running now these two subsystems permanently installed, and this ship has now a full rear section of generators here, so we got a pretty decent energy overproduction. So this way, this ship is pretty decently capable of roaming around without running out of power that quickly. So let's transform all that loot into money. So let's do this one more time. Select the ship, select the resource depot. Wait a sec, where is that? And dock at that thing. So I really enjoy the autopiloting system to some degree because it's really relaxing to get there. So you could of course grind out your ship like crazy at this point, but it's really not that necessary to do that all on your own. At this point of the game, I personally love to, let's do this manually. I personally love to create a second ship and automate the first ship from this point on. But it really is up to your own taste if you want to go for the automation that early or not. So I'm going to show you how it's done. So we're now selling off all our leftover resource. I'm also going to sell the titanium for once that's okay. So the next thing we're doing, pressing N, and check out all the different stations. I'm clicking this and pressing F for interaction, and here I go for hire crew, and I check out if there's any captain for hire. So let's go over all these. No captain. No captain. No captain. Sometimes you have to look for these a little bit longer. Here, Commodore. So this is a first captain. This is a tier 1 Commodore. So this captain will bring upgrades, 2 more armed turret slots, 4 more auto turret slots, and lots of other goodies. So here, these perks and quirks are other specialties. So overall, this is not the ideal captain for a mining ship. This is more of an ideal captain for a combat ship. But what you also can do, and what we are going to do, is I'm going to hire this dude, and I'm going to use the perks he gives the ship to make it more resilient. But not in this episode, because I'm out of money. So let's hire the captain, and we have to be at the shipyard first. So let's get there, select our ship once more, and dock at this place. I also like to use the autopilot to just give me a little bit of a hint where I have to go to, and then snap out of the autopilot and do the rest on my own. So the ship right now with this configuration isn't faster than before, but what I can do now, as you see here, I can pretty much sprint through to that shipyard in one go without the need to paddle or without the need to take breaks or anything like that. This is really good, and this is because we've increased the total amount of generators. But as you see here, we're running out of power here, nevertheless, before we hit that spot. I'm going to introduce methods how to change that, of course, as well. Guess we can do this in this episode too. But first, let's grab that captain and explain that. All right, there we go. Dock at that station and hire the Commodore. Boom. So now you get also you receive a quest from your from an NPC that'll introduce that'll give you a little bit of a tutorial and a free ship to you about tutorial about captains, but we're doing our own tutorial here. So with the captain on board, let's press I. You have now access to a lot of other nice goodies. So first off, your salary just increased insanely, had a insane bump. These dudes, they really cost a lot of money. I have no clue in which ticks the salary is paid because I don't pay attention to these things. It looks more, it looks costlier than it is. The first thing that I want to introduce to you that you can do when you have a captain is I want to fly over to this place here. That's the asteroid belt that I like to mine at. Let's do a little bit of a hyperspace jump over there. And I'm going to introduce you to the pleasant benefits of running a captain on your ship. Basically, I try to have a captain in every ship because, as you've seen there, we also gained passive bonuses out of that, like extra turret slots, and that's a really, really good piece of candy for every ship. And as you've seen there, captains come with different flavors, so you can also get other bonuses. But first off, let's press Shift, left shift to release the cursor, and over here you have the autopilot icon. Click that, and here you get the orders. We're going to select mine sector, and let's look at this go. I'm going to have a sip of tea while I'm doing so. This is really, really awesome because, you know, if you ever have an occasion where you don't want to play the game actively and you just want to watch some TV or listen to some podcast or heck whatever, you can also turn on the autopilot. But here the autopilot gives us a wonderful example about his puniness. So, you know, you notice the lasers really needed quite a while until they realized what was going wrong there. So compared to my own performance, this is extremely slow. But honestly, sometimes when I just want to, like I said, listen to some podcast or something like that, this is quite relaxing and pretty cool to do so. Although, I gotta say, my captain really does make this look pretty bad, so let's watch the next one. It does not always go this horrible. Like this was one of the worst automated situations that I've seen so far. So let's check out what happens here. You notice already this the autopilot does things really really sluggish in comparison to a human. There we go. It's again not able to hit the roids directly. It's looking for some spot to laser at, but once the lasers get going, it's pretty okay. Here's a couple of other things that I want to mention. If you want to autopilot ships like that, try to put all your mining lasers on one side of the ship. I once had a configuration where I had half the lasers on the bottom side and half the lasers on the top side, which ended in a situation where pretty often the autopilot had the ship in a position where only 50% of the lasers would fire, like always, and that's horrible. That's why I started to put all the turrets on one side of the ship. You can solve that issue, of course, in many different ways. That's only one of the possibilities, but you might already get the idea. So, well, this is not that effective, but I personally wanted to showcase it. This is something you can only do with a captain on board. But there are other good things that you can do with a captain on board. I don't know if which of these are only possible with the captain or not, but let's do this. So when you press M and get into the map, you can click your ship now, and with the captain, you have a lot of different commands that you can go for. Patrol sector, attack enemies, repair, travel, scout, mine, scrap, refine, and so on and so forth. Those are really a ton of different things. We're going to check out the mining here first. So we select mine, and then you have to select a grid where it should happen. So as you see here, it's quite fixated to my own position. I can't move that grid too far away from my own position. Let's left click here, and now you get a readout about the mining ops. So it tells you which area is going to be mined. You can select escort and support ships if you have other ships. We don't have these yet, right now. Here goes the duration of the operation. The longer the duration, the higher the output. And here you also can check out ambush probability, in what kind of interval the deliveries will come. As you see here, the higher the duration, the higher the amount of income out of one interval. Because you see here, 1.5 hours has the same delivery interval, but the amounts are increasing. So you really get more out of your mission the longer you let it run. So here you have some other readouts that are going to influence your outcome. I think the tooltips really tell everything. And here you can select what kind of mineral should be mined. Pay attention to the fact that if you exclude something, the yield of the other thing will increase. So sometimes it's really lucrative to send the ship only to send titanium. So there's one problem here, though. The ambush probability is at 46%. And since this ship is really not fit for combat, we can't send it off like that. You can here checkmark safe mode, and this will tremendously lower the yields. You see, it's a cut of more than 50%, but at the same time, you lower the ambush probability to a really, really low amount. And at the beginning of the game, if you want to automate your ships for the first time, I highly recommend you go for safe mode. And once you start that, you lose control of the ship, and you will regain control of the ship after the passing of those 2 hours. And that's that. So we're not going to do this right now because obviously this is my only ship, and I'd personally start to send this ship on a journey as soon as I got the necessary as soon as I got the necessary penny to afford a new ship. But we're going to mine here a bit while we're exploring this, and here I want to showcase some other wonderful thing. While I'm explaining here to you guys, this ship is mining in the background. That's just how nice this can be. So here you have a lot of different other missions, and we're going to explore these missions together in the future, don't you worry. But for the time being, we're only going to refer to the mining ops here, because that's basically the first thing that we're possibly going to go for. Of course, the other the other missions here are all meant to alleviate the micromanagement stress from you as a player, and the more you can automate, the better. So at this point of the game, you already start heading towards a core aspect of Avorion. Your ships are really something that your drones, you want to program them. You want to think about what's the job of every certain ship out there. What's its long-term role in your empire. Because in Avorion, you not only build ships, you can also build stations. We're going to cover these things, I hope, sometime in the future. I gotta admit, I have to learn how to build stations myself at this point still. But what I'm trying to say here is this game gives you the freedom to build up your empire as you choose. So TLDR, every ship you build should have a certain plan in mind, because most ships you build will be for automation's sake. The ships you will fly manually will be, well, in my personal case at least, almost always be combat fit ships that are going to do the dirty work manually or do the exploration or whatever. But you can really put that on your onto your own agenda. Here in this episode, we're pretty much already at the end of the things, but I want to showcase some other cool things that you can do before I leave here. This episode is going to be a bit shorter, but that's okay. So if you select your ship now, you can left click it, and now I'm holding down the left shift button, and now I'm going to right click here. Wait a sec. Oh, I can't do this while we're mining. Forgive me. So, left click the ship, hold down shift, left shift, right click on that signature, and right click one more time on that signature now. Pay attention to these overlays. The dark blue one is my current one. The cyan one is the radius of my next jump. Right click here one more time. Right click here one more time, and release. Okay, now I'm pressing M, and what's happening now is I got a automated chain of jumps going on, and this is also a really neat little thing that you can do if you don't want to fly these distances on your own. By the way, if you're tired of that press space button thing, you can disable that here. I personally always have that enabled because, you know, I'm a father of a little kid, and it's really always a good thing if the game has an automatic pause thing going on, so I don't accidentally let my game run. But it's up to you, so I'll show you how it works if you have that no longer checkmarked. Then your autopilot does navigate you down your jump points in a smooth and straight line, and you can basically AFK there. You can go wash your dishes or do whatever you want to. But pay attention if you queue up commands like these. If you do this, try to avoid going through hostile territory, because enemies block your hyperspace jump for something around 60 seconds if they sit there. And if you're AFK at that point, this might be a tad bit unhealthy. But as long as you chain your jumps through safe territory, as you see here, as soon as you have the space bar pause thingy disabled, you can't just auto through this. Okay, we're going to leave it like that for me. You now know why. And here I now discovered a couple of areas here. So if you mouse over these sectors, you get a little bit of a readout what's going on there. So here in this area we have lots of factories. Here we have asteroids, asteroids, asteroids. Here's our repair dock. And as you see here, there's tons of little green dots that you can explore. So another thing that I want to showcase here with the captain is you can also tell the captain to travel for you. Here, select that, and let's push this button here. Boom, and here we go. You see, this is the regular mission screen, and we can tell him to go how fast he's going. You get a little bit of a assessment of the situation of your captain, and here I can tell him to travel for me. Let's do this because it's only taken 2 minutes. Let's press start. Boom. And now I'm getting ejected out of my ship, because when you select a ship to travel, it's going to be away for a while. And as you see here, it's now depicted like that. When you press P for your player menu, you have here the fleet assignment area, and here you see what your ships are actually doing at this point. So here, this is the unlock menu. We're going to go over these things later down the road. So here I'm sitting in the middle of nowhere. So there's a couple of thousand asteroids here though. So let's look for them and wait for our ship to arrive, because I want to show you how you can manage between ships quite easily, and that's going to be a solid end for this tutorial episode about captains and fleet management, because these are the fundamentals of fleet management. And with this knowledge, you can set up yourself a little bit of an army of little ships that just do missions for you and give you resources, and you don't have to do all this on your own. You can eliminate enemies with these. You can mine fields. You can send them exploring. You can send them producing. I think the devs tried to cover every possible idea that you could come up as a player and give you a mission for that. I'm not sure if how well it works out, because I'm not really an expert on Avorion. Don't get me wrong. I'm an aficionado, but all the knowledge I do have is solid. I learn off camera, so you don't have to. So you see, I had a little bit of notification that my ship just reached its destination. We're going to mine that asteroid real quick. And then we're going to see what that meant. So pressing M, you see now our starter ship, if I hover it, it's sitting here. I'm, though, sitting here. So you can now just access your ship via several means. So you can see, you can't access it here, but there's a neat little trick. You press M, and you right-click the starter ship here in that thing, and then you click switch to starter ship, and then you directly access that ship, and you get to sit inside that ship again. You will abandon the drone in that sector, though. The drone won't remain. Only ships remain. If you teleport into a ship while sitting in your drone, you're basically losing that access point here. You see, I can't I can't jump into that sector now in any way or something like that. But I was able to send my captain over to travel there for me, which is really cool. For example, now I could send my captain to travel over there and meanwhile mine some asteroids and just jump over there once the traveling is done. Avorion gives you a lot of ways and means to choose for yourself what kind of the gameplay you want to play actively, and what kind of gameplay you want to leave to the automation and have that a little bit less efficient, but just have it done automatically. That's something I really, really like. Okay, so I'm going to end this captain and fleet management tutorial episode at this point, because I'm not a big fan of over-bloating episodes just to have a 30-minute episode without having anything further to say. So thank you guys so much for watching. In the coming episodes, we're going to work forward to a combat fit ship. So the mining brick is all nice and dandy, but we're going to work on a real combat ship in the next coming episodes to raid some pirates. So that's going to be what we're up next time. Leave your comments down below. Leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and of course consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. There's daily content coming up from my side. I'd be super happy to have you. See you guys next time, and have a good one. Goodbye.